Demak, bu qism o'zini qo'yasiga ketdi. Men section 4 ga o'tishim kerak hozir. Qirtilib ketdi ham benlarim. Wow, I'm gonna die. I'm going to die early. I'm going to fucking die early. Seriously. Bulan ti qo'yib ketsangiz bo'ladi. Top olsangiz. Hop, one word only qo'yishdi. Section 4, question 31 to 40 ketdik. Hunt for sunken settlements and ancient shipwrecks bo'ldi. Altitude yam, traditional autonomous underwater vehicles, latest AUVs, tests underwater, internet, plant research in Gulf of Barati. Atlatyam. Village Mediterranean, thrive at 7,000 years, stone homes, courtyard, had a summer cycle of surge around hop. Demak, nimanidir atrofida semicircle yarim oilani large katta stonelar bor ekan. Bilmayman, nima atrofida bo'lishi mumkin. Castle bo'lishi mumkin, shunaqa narsa, g'alatiroq narsalar bo'ladi. Nimadir location bo'lishi mumkin yoki birorta narsa bo'lishi mumkin. Round tree bo'lishi mumkin masalan. Bilmayman. Lake bo'lishi mumkin masalan. Bir narsa bo'lishi mumkin. Shunaqa narsa bo'ladi. Caused the destruction unknown under the sea, biggest settlement for the prehistoric period found the seabed, research carried out into structures and something and human remains. Ya'ni nimadirda strukturalar narsalar bo'lishi mumkin. Uylar bo'lishi mumkin. Lekin uylar strukturalarini ichiga kirib ketadi. O'shuning uchun bu endi qanaqadir item bo'ladi-da. Items bo'lishi mumkin-da qisqasi. Hop, traditional autonomous underwater vehicles are used in the oil industry to make what? Oil industryda ishlatilarkanda nimadir qilishda ishlatilarkan. Problems were very expensive and adjective. Very expensive and heavy bo'lishi mumkin masalan. Qisqasi. Sifat kerakda bizga. Juda ham qimmat va yana nimadir. Hop, test. Sicily found ancient Roman ships carrying architectural elements made of demak topibdi shipni, o'sha ship arxitekturniy elementlar olib ketayotgan ekan. Made of nimadan qilinishi mumkin arxitektura? Stone bo'lishi mumkin, nima bo'lishi mumkin yana? Yana nimadan qanaqadir ana bo'ladi-da. Resource wood bo'lishi mumkin masalan. Resource bo'ladi. Ana bo'lishi mumkin, graffiti bo'lishi mumkin qisqasi. Nimadir-da bu? Used for short distance communication. Hop, acoustic waves for long distance. Demak, qismda bu qanaqadir acoustic sound bo'lishi mumkin. Sound bo'lishi mumkin. Acoustic soundga aloqador emasmi? Qisqasi shunaqa narsa-da. Fizikaga doir bir narsa. Can send the data to another that has better, for example. Demak, AUV boshqa AUV ga nimasidir yaxshiroq bo'lgan boshqa AUV ga ma'lumot jo'natishi mumkin. Better nima bo'lishi mumkin? Better signal bo'lishi mumkin, better equipment bo'lishi mumkin. Shunaqa narsa bo'ladi. To find out more about wrecks of ancient Rome, including one carrying what kind of supplies? Good supplies, bad supplies, adjective bo'ladi. Food supplies bo'lishi mumkin, bir narsa bo'ladi-da. Tablets may have been used for cleaning the something. Tabletlarni nimadir ishlatish, nimadir tozalashda ishlatilgan bo'lishi mumkin. Nimani ishlab bilmayman to'g'risi. Others carrying containers of oil or something. Olive oil yoki nimadir, yana qanaqadir produkt kerak qilayotgan bo'ladi. Endi o'sha narsani produktni topishimiz kerak. Xo'p, analiz qildik. O'qib olinglar, men sizlarga vaqt beraman. O'qib olasizlar. Keyin davom etamiz.
Section 4. Fuck. You will hear part of a lecture about a branch of archaeology called marine archaeology. First, you have some time to look at questions 31 to 40.
Good. O'qib olinglar qisqasi. O'qib olinglar, tushunib olinglar yoki pauza qilib o'qiysizlarmi, bilmayman. Pauza o'qigandan yaxshi shekilli. Men просто kutib turaman, charchadim men. Fuck.
Now listen carefully and answer questions 31 to 40.
In today's class, I'm going to talk about marine archaeology, the branch of archaeology focusing on human interaction with the sea, lakes, and rivers. It's the study of ships, cargoes, shipping facilities, and other physical remains. I'll give you an example, then go on to show how this type of research is being transformed by the use of the latest technology. Atlatyam was a village on the coast of the eastern Mediterranean, which seems to have been thriving until around 7000 BC. The residents kept cattle, caught fish, and stored grain. They had wells for fresh water. Many of their houses were built around a courtyard and were constructed of stone. The village contained an impressive monument. 7 half-ton stones standing in a semicircle around a spring.
Around a spring. Spring nima bo'ladi? Spring buloq degani. Bu bahor emas, bu buloq degani bolalar. Shuni yodlab olinglar. Yodlab olinglar. Xo'p, qani bu spring? Mana, the village contained an impressive monument, 7 half-ton stones standing in a semicircle around the spring. Ceremonial purposes.
Might have been used for ceremonial purposes.
Ceremonial.
Atlit Yam may have been destroyed swiftly by a tsunami, or climate change may have caused glaciers to melt and sea levels to rise, flooding the village gradually. Whatever the cause, it now lies 10 meters below the surface of the Mediterranean, buried under sand at the bottom of the sea. It's been described as the largest and best preserved prehistoric settlement ever found on the seabed. For marine archaeologists, Atlit Yam is a treasure trove. Research on the buildings, tools, and the human remains has
Aytganimku tools deb. Qanaqa produkt bo'ladi? Tools. Buildings dedi, bu strukturaning sinonimi. Human remain ni aytdi. Toolni human remain bilan building orasida aytdi. Topamiz uni. Mana. For treasure trove, research on the building structure sinonimi. Tool javobimiz human remains. Qisqasi mana human remains qisqasi javob.
Revealed how the bustling village once functioned, and even what diseases some of its residents suffered from. But of course, this is only one small village, one window into a lost world. For a fuller picture, researchers need more sunken settlements, but the hard part is finding them. Underwater research used to require divers to find shipwrecks or artifacts, but in the second half of the 20th century, various types of underwater vehicles were developed. Some controlled from a ship on the surface, and some of them autonomous, which means they don't need to be operated by a person. Autonomous underwater vehicles, or AUVs, are used in the oil industry, for instance, to create maps of the seabed.
To create maps of the seabed. Map bo'la job. To make maps bo'la job. Qayerdan olding mapni? Qayerdan olding? Damn it. Mana autonomous underwater vehicles, AUVs, used in the oil industry, for instance, to create, make the synonym maps of the job of the seabed. Bo'ldi. Before rings and pipelines are installed. Such job maps bo'ladi.
Before rigs and pipelines are installed. To navigate, they use sensors, such as compasses and sonar. Until relatively recently, they were very expensive. And so heavy that they had to be launched from a large vessel with a winch.
Heavy bo'lgan, expensive bo'lgan, shu uchun ham large vesseldan qilingan, shipped qilingan, bir narsa qilingan, launch qilingan heavy dedi. Heavy dedim men ham. Taxmin qilorman. Ko'rdinglar? Until relatively recently they were very expensive, so heavy that they had to be launched from a large vessel with a winch. Qisqasi javob heavy bo'ladi. Bizga qolgani kerak emas, qiziq emas, ish qiziq emas bizga.
But the latest AUVs are much easier to maneuver. They can be launched from the shore or a small ship, and they're much cheaper, which makes them more accessible to research teams. They are also very sophisticated. They can communicate with each other and, for example, work out the most efficient way to survey a site or to find particular objects on the seabed. Field tests show the approach can work. For example, in a trial in 2015, 3 AUVs searched for wrecks at Martsimemi, off the coast of Sicily. The site is the final resting place of an ancient Roman ship, which sank in the 6th century AD, while ferrying prefabricated marble elements for the construction of an early church.
Marble elements for the construction of an early church. Made of marble bo'ldi. Marble job. Marble nimaligini bilmayman, lekin qanaqa yozishni bilaman. Marble. Bilishim shart emas, ko'rasizlar o'zi. Ana o'qisanglar, qanaqa talaffuz qilinishini tushunib, o'shandan anaqa qilsanglar yetadi. Tushunsanglar. Ko'rganman mana shu o'zi mana. Qisqasi, the site is the final resting place of ancient Roman ship which sank in the 6th century. Ferrying degani carrying sinonimi. Prefabricated degan so'z yo'q, просто marble bo'ldi. Marble taxminan nimaligini bilardim, qanaqadir toshligini bilardim. Elements for the church, construction of the early church. Mana qismda javob architectural elements, architectural ligini qatnamalik, construction of the early church yozib qo'yibdi. O'sha uchun ham marble bo'ladi javob.
The AUVs mapped the area in detail, finding other ships carrying columns of the same material. Creating an internet in the sea for AUVs to communicate is no easy matter. Wi-Fi networks on land use electromagnetic waves, but in water, these will only travel a few centimeters. Instead, a more complex mix of technologies is required.
What?
For short distances, AUVs can share data using light.
Light? Seriously? How? Light. Communicate information using light? Qanaqa qilib qilar ekan bu ishni? Qisqasi light ishlatar ekan, short distance-ga acousticni uzoqqa ishlatar ekan. Interesting, light. Wow, for short distance, mana qisqasi short distance bor short distance. AUVs can share using light, mana javob. AUVs can share using light, mana light is used for a job.
While acoustic waves are used to communicate over long distances.
Interesting.
But more creative solutions are also being developed, where an AUV working on the seabed offloads data to a second AUV, which then surfaces and beams the data home to the research team using a satellite. There's also a system that enables AUVs to share information from seabed scans and other data. So, if an AUV surveying the seabed finds an intriguing object, it can share the coordinates of the object, that is, its position, with a nearby AUV that carries superior cameras.
Better cameras bo'lar ekan. Javob superior degani лучше degani betterni sinonim o'tdi. Qani cameras. Qisqasi mana coordinates the object and which in position nearby a widget carries mana qisqasi it can share, so far AUV arranges the seabed finds an intriguing object, can share the coordinates of the object at its position with a nearby AUV that carries superior keywordida yaxshiroq cameras javob bo'ladi. Arrange blah 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 blah. Qisqasi cameras javob.
And arrange for that AUV to make a closer inspection of the object. Marine archaeologists are excited about the huge potential of these AUVs for their discipline. One site where they're going to be deployed is the Gulf of Baratti off the Italian coast. In 1974, a 2,000-year-old Roman vessel was discovered here in 18 meters of water. When it sank, it was carrying medical goods in wood.
Medical goods dedi. Medical supplies synonym. Medical goods.
Or tin receptacles.
Qisqasi javob topa olmayman bir mana. Roman vessel discarded and when it was sank it was carrying medical goods. Sotda good o'tda supply ni synonym o'tda, medical javob bo'ladi shuning uchun ham supply good ni synonym o'tda bo'ldi. Wooden or tin receptacles.
Its cargo gives us insight into the treatments available all those years ago, including tablets that are thought to have been dissolved to form a cleansing liquid for the eyes.
Eyes. Interesting. Eyes tozalash naqa. Ko'zni tozalaydigan cleansing liquid ekan. Mana terms available as this years ago, including tablets that are thought to have been dissolved to form a cleansing liquid for the eyes.
Other Roman ships went down nearby, taking their cargoes with them. Some held huge pots made of terracotta, Some were used for transporting cargoes of olive oil.
Pots of terracotta. Pot bo'ladi, javob pot. Pot degan nima degani? Koza yoki tuey degani. Qisqasi o'z ko'rganingizda bular xitrlik qildi. Birinchi potni aytdi, keyin olive oil aytdi. Ko'pchilik o'quvchi aytadi, olive oildan keyin javob keladi deydi, uxlaydi. Oh shit. Men uxladim. Pots made of terracotta. Men uxladim. Men post yozib qo'yardim, xato qilardim. Menga eshitmaydi. Men va eshitmaydi. Bezak tanishuvchilar qolsin. Realni chunki men ham adashyapman, men adashganimni ko'rsin bolalar. Qisqasi mana others carrying containers of olive oil deb men pots deb o'ylabman, lekin pots bo'lmas ekan. Eshitamiz.
And others held wine.
Shit. Wine bo'lar ekan. Nimaga? Hozir tushuntirib beraman. Xo'p, pots of terracotta dedi-ku, mana pots of terracottani mana pots degani tuey bunaqa ko'za edi. Mana bu konteynerga qaramayman, mana konteyner ham o'sha potsni sinonimida. O'sha damn it. Container of nimanidir konteynerlarni demak, o'ta olive oil bilan birgalikda qanaqadir suyuqlik bo'lish kerak bo'lgan ekan. Wine bo'lar ekan javob, lekin men adashibman. Mayli, adashadi, hamma adashadi. Qisqasi mana wine bo'lar ekan javob. O'zingizlar ko'rganda shunga e'tibor berishinglar kerak. Bunda masalan bu xatoda nimani ko'rishinglar mumkin? Bu xatoda sizlar anoni ahamiyatini ko'rishinglar mumkin. Nimani ahamiyatini ko'rishinglar mumkin? Bunda sizlar o'sha analiz ahamiyatini ko'rishinglar mumkin. Mana boshqalari carrying нести, которые несли контейнеры, которые содержали в себе olive oil or что-то. Demak, konteynerlar potsni sinonimida made of terracotta olive oil bilan yana nimadir anaqa qilganda o'zi suyuqlik bo'ladi, liquid bo'ladi, wine bo'lar ekan javob qisqasi. Xo'p, in many cases only these containers that remain wooden ships have been buried under sea. Doesn't matter. Qisqacha bilan bugun darsimiz o'z oxiriga yetdi. O'zing ko'rganingda men ham 2 marta adashdim shekilli bugun dars o'zida. Hamma savollarni, keywordlarni chizib tashladim, hamma joyga chizib tashladim va shu chizilmagan joyni o'zi qolmadi. Shu bilan hammaga tushunarli bo'ldi degan umiddaman. Men hamma joylarni underline qildim. Agar tushunmay qoladigan bo'lsangiz, iltimos shu savollarni, shu so'zlarni, shu gaplarni tarjima qilinglar, o'qishga harakat qilinglar, o'rganinglar. Bo'lmasa baraka topmaysizlar, to'g'risi vocab yodlamasanglar hech narsa bo'lmaydi. Vocab hamma narsaning davosi. Shu bilan bugun darsimiz o'z oxiriga yetadi. Keyingi darsda sizlarni kutib qolamiz. Bye bye guys.